Shane with 40k Fanatics, and we're back with another in our series of Crusade stuff. How to play, how to get ready, how to do the bookkeeping, and specifically how to do the bookkeeping is what this part is. So, what do I mean by bookkeeping? Well, we've done a little bit of homework making our Crusade Force sheet, which has all our guys, what they cost, how many Crusade points they've got on them. And then we got ready to play a battle. We selected agendas and we played a battle, let's say. And here are our data cards. This is another thing that we've done, Crusade cards, I'm sorry, whichever you want to call them. You get the idea. Every single guy on the list previously is featured here in all of their technical glory. So, the thing with Crusade is that it is the most laid bare that you are the computer in this video game type thing that we are doing, playing a tabletop war game. So, there are a number of ways and a number of things that you must keep up with. So, your guys are going to level up once they get so much experience. We will talk about how much that needs to be in a moment, but first you need to know how you gain it. There are a number of ways to gain it. We selected agendas last time, and you can gain them that way. You also gain them primarily in these three ways. If a unit plays in the battle, they get an XP. That's battle experience. Dealers of Death is the other way. Every 3 units killed, you get 1 experience. And then the Marked for Greatness is your own selection. At the end of the battle, you can give a guy 3 experience, which is quite a bit. And this is very important. Perhaps I'll remember to flash very important on the screen. When you're keeping track of these things, so battles played, that would be 1 experience for participating, even if you don't battle survived, okay? So, I recommend that every single thing you do, you use tally marks. Do not put numbers. It's going to be very tempting to have 2 tally marks and then give this guy the mark for greatness and then write 3. And then you'll at some point have to say 5, and then you will not know what the heck has happened. How you went from 3 to 2 to 5, and then 2 more tally marks for some agenda, and now you hope 7, but it's been 2 weeks since you've played, and it's 7 and there's 3 tally marks over on the other side, and now you're confused. So just do tally marks every single time. I promise you it will be a better time, okay? Tally marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goes across. You know how it is, like you're counting days in prison. Down here, a little bit different. Units destroyed. You're going to keep track of that. 1, 2, 3. Every time I get to 3, I make a slash, and I put a 1 up in the XP box, because that, of course, is the Dealers of Death one. And then at the end of the battle, I decide who needs the little boost, and I give them 3. Now, when you're in the middle of the battle, I know this is bookkeeping, but this is important. I like to, as soon as I deploy the units, put a battle played and mark it down. And then during the battle, I keep this under the table or close by, and if a unit destroys something, I mark it down right then. And if I get to 3, I put it up there right then. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, did I do that? Do I do it now? Do I do it then? Anything you do that gains experience immediately, mark it down with a tally. So for instance, today I played, and I selected an agenda out of my codex, which you're allowed to do, of course. Go look at the last video. And anytime my Chaos Space Marines passed a Dark Pact, 3 units that I selected, anytime a selected unit passed a Dark Pact, they gained an experience. And so I did that immediately. I also had another one. Anytime I destroyed a particular enemy unit, the unit that did that would gain an experience. I put that immediately. Now those are twofers, right? So you get a unit destroyed, and if it's the 3rd one, it counts for experience. But then also because of the agenda, it gave me 1. A lot of times they're to a limit of 3, so you got to keep track of that. More pro tips. I took myself a little agenda card, so here are my little tally marks. There are the 3 units that I selected. That kind of thing to remind yourself that you have to do it and how to do it. All right? Then you may have more tally marks to make for the victory bonus, which is part of the mission description, where it could say, units that survive a battle gain an extra 2. So you'll go through, and whoever's left on the table, you'll mark them on their Crusade cards as well. So that is the tally marks that are going to go all over this thing. And why are we keeping track of all this experience? Is so we can get ranks and battle honors. This is the most fun part. When you get experience points over 5, they become blooded, and then battle hardened, and then heroic, and finally legendary. And when they do, and I want to say is only characters can get heroic and legendary. Everybody else maxes out their battle hardened. When you get this far, you can then get yourself a weapon modification where you get 2 of these things. You can roll them or you can select them. I think it's way more fun to roll them. So any Crusade masters that are looking at this, I say roll the stuff. You can't get the same thing twice, things like that. I like to think, too, that if your players, you're a little bit dungeon master as Crusade director, let's call it. I like to think if there's something in here, a battle trait that a unit can't use, let your player just roll it again. Because that's no fun. If the battle trait gives them deep strike and does nothing else, and they already have deep strike, then just let them roll it again. So here's the battle traits. Now, you're going to have battle traits in your codex. You're going to have them in the Crusade book. You can choose which you want to pull from. Or, I guess you could be fun and roll a 50-50 type deal. And then you could say, okay, on a 1 through 3, you take it from your own book. On 3 through 6, you take it from the Crusade book. That could be fun too, I suppose. But the way that it's written in the thing, you can just take them out of whichever source you like. And the way these work is they're limited to the unit types. So infantry, excluding characters. Here's characters, excluding monsters and vehicles. Monsters and vehicles. So obviously you have to roll out of the chart that they belong to. Pretty simple. When you do this, you get the thing, and then your unit that got the thing gains a Crusade point, which has to do with the Crusade, blessings that we talked about in the last video. So that's pretty self-explanatory. You then have got relics. You can choose to get relics. Now, you can take an art. The relics are in 3 tiers. Artificer you can take the first time, and then you have to be battle hardened, and then you have to be the other 2 to take legendary. There's also a chart where these bigger relics count for multiple Crusade points. So a guy could become very, very expensive very, very quickly with that. Yes, here they are. +1, +2, +3 legendary relic. So he would then be +3 Crusade points rather than 1 with something like a weapon modification, a battle trait, or a artificer relic. That's how that works. Now, what, you may ask, Shane, do you do if your unit did not survive the fight? Well, then you have to take what's called an out-of-action test. And I am trying to find it in this book, and I can't find it, but I'm going to find it. And I'm not going to edit any of this out so that you guys can be with me on this. Here we go. Out-of-action test. The out-of-action test is very, very simple. You roll 1d6 for each unit that died. If you roll a 1, they either take a devastating blow or a battle scar. It's your option which it is. You can take the devastating blow and they lose a battle honor, provided they had one to begin with. And I believe the battle honor is, I'm pretty sure that means you could lose your Crusade relic, which you would not want to do. You could lose your weapon modification, which you do not want to do. Some of the battle honors are not, or battle traits are not as great, but you can choose to do that. That reduces the Crusade point cost just like it does when you got it, so it basically levels them down. Or you can take a battle scar, and if you have no battle honor, you must take a battle scar. And then you roll on this chart. And some codexes have their own set of battle scars, and some of these are quite bad. The Mark of Shame, this unit, cannot form an attached unit, and is unaffected by the aura abilities of friendly units. You really don't want that one. And it can't be marked for greatness. That's tough. But that's the way it goes. If at any time a unit gets 3 battle scars, they are done, kaput, over with. I talked about it, I think, in the very first video, that you can use your requisition points to make one go away, but then it ends up costing you make a battle scar go away, but then it makes you it costs a Crusade point, so the guy ends up costing more just to stay flat at whatever he was at. That's what happened to cause my Lord Henry to be so expensive. He took a battle scar, I paid to get rid of it, and then he leveled up. By the time it's all said and done, because he has an enhancement, he's worth 3 Crusade points with kind of only 2 upgrades, if you will. So that is how that works. And that is most of the bookkeeping that you need to do for a Crusade. So that's the during and the after. The after is not so bad if you're good about the during. Again, the most important part is to use tally marks on all of your Crusade cards. Otherwise, you will get confused, and it will be a bad time. And I'll be back one more time. I think one more time. We might do 2 more times with some more of the what to do with the campaign, how to get around that, which is going to vary a lot depending on what Crusade we're actually playing. See you next time.